Well, it's time for the annual Harbourmasters Ball again. That's when all the Harbourmasters can get together and tell stories about all the adventures that they've had in their harbors. And the hat is very... Where is my hat? Oh, there it is. Yes, indeed. The hat is very important. And if any of you out there are going to be Harbourmasters one day, you must remember how to wear your hat properly. 2 fingers. This one right here at the crease of your nose like this. You put your hat on with the brim just like that. Most important caution is the official whistle. Now, Captain Bernard, my friend from down the coast, he likes to wear his whistle in his pocket like that. But I don't. I like to wear my whistle out at the ready like that. Do you think there's only one way to do things? Well, our friends Theodore and Hank were wondering about that just the other day. I've got time. I'm going to tell you about it. Theodore was all smiles that morning as he set out for his favorite job, moving a barge. Now, moving barges is just about the best thing a tug could do. It's special because there isn't even a pilot who goes along with you. You're all by yourself. Of course, Theodore had moved barges before, but it always seemed new and exciting. Theodore got to move barges because the bigger tugs like George and Emily were usually busy being pullers, and the smaller ones like Hank hadn't had a turn yet. Now, this particular barge, whose name was Barrington, was waiting for Theodore. He was full of big, long tubes to take to the oil refineries. Theodore often moved Barrington. Barrington never told him what to do like some barges did. He was nice and quiet. Theodore buttoned his tow line onto Barrington and began to take him through the harbor. Theodore kept his line nice and tight so Barrington didn't bounce around behind him. Now, the hardest part of moving barges is making turns. You know, sometimes barges do strange things. When you try to turn them one way, they go another. You have to watch them every minute. Theodore was getting close to Bedford Buoy. He turned one way, and of course, Barrington turned the other, right around Bedford. That was the way to turn barges, thought Theodore. Pearl, the pilot boat, came floating by. Good job, Theodore, she called. Theodore gave a cheerful toot-toot back to Pearl and continued on his way. Moving barges was the best. Early the next day, the tugs were gathered round the dispatcher for their morning work. The dispatcher was giving out the day's jobs to the tugs. Emily, you will be lifting marker buoys. They all need to be painted. Then the dispatcher turned to Hank and said, Hank, today I would like you to move Barrington barge. Hank? Theodore couldn't believe his ears. Hank had never moved a barge before. Next, the dispatcher turned to Theodore and said, since this will be Hank's first time moving barges, I would like you, Theodore, to teach him how to do it. Theodore was very surprised. He'd never been asked to teach anyone anything before. Yes, sir, Mr. Dispatcher, sir, said Theodore. It's a very important job. Theodore made his most important face, like the pilot does sometimes. And set off after Hank with a big toot-toot. Isn't it great, said Hank, as the toot-toot sailed toward Barrington. He was very excited about moving his first barge. Theodore saw that Hank's anchor was sticking out behind him. He was always forgetting to tuck it in. You better tuck in your anchor, said Theodore. Oops, said Hank. And reeled it in quickly. Now you have to go in front of the barge. Theodore was just about to tell Hank how to pull Barrington from the front when Hank headed to the side of the barge as if he were going to pull from there. Hank! Shouted Theodore. Well, Hank was so startled by Theodore's loud shout that he bumped right into Barrington. You don't pull barges from the side, said Theodore. Why not? Asked Hank. I pull ships from the side. Because, explained Theodore, it's not the way I do it, and I'm the teacher. but Hank was already pulling away from the side. And you know what? Barrington hardly bounced around at all. Well, it's a good thing, said Theodore, that Barrington is well behaved today. Being a teacher wasn't as easy as he thought. And then he set off after Hank. They came to Bedford Buoy in the middle of the harbor. Emily was trying to pull Bedford from the water. Turning is very important, Theodore was saying to Hank. Barges always turn one way when you want them to turn another. But Hank turned Barrington around that buoy just as easy as you please. Hank was very pleased with the job he had done. Thank you for helping me move my first barge, Theodore. Theodore just shook his head at Hank and said, but it was all wrong. Hank was surprised and a little bit hurt by what Theodore said. He thought he'd done a great job. The next morning at the work meeting, the dispatcher asked Theodore how Hank's barge moving was coming along. Well, began Theodore, he pulls from the side. Did Barrington say anything? Asked the dispatcher. No, replied Theodore. That's the trouble with Barrington. He never says anything. He's too quiet. Yes, well, said the dispatcher. Today, Pearl will be going along to see if Hank is ready to move barges by himself. It'll be like a test. A test, thought Theodore to himself. He didn't think that Hank was ready for a test at all. With a light breeze at their bows, Theodore and Hank set out to move Barrington. This time, Pearl, the pilot boat, was keeping a watchful eye. Barrington was waiting with another load of big, long tubes. Hank, said Theodore, could you please move Barrington the way I taught you? I don't think I can do it that way, whispered Hank. But that's the right way to move barges, said Theodore. And besides, Pearl will be watching. Well, I guess so, said Hank finally, and went to button on the Barrett. Theodore was worrying so much about the test that he forgot to tell Hank to tuck in his anchor. Now, let's see what you've taught Hank, called Pearl, as Hank headed out into the harbor with Barrington. This time, Hank was pulling from the front, just like Theodore did, but it didn't feel right to him. Hank, tighten your line, shouted Theodore. But Hank was bobbing on the other end of the tow line like a yo-yo. I don't think I can pull the front, called Hank. Sure enough, the next thing you knew, Barrington was bouncing over the waves like a bowl of jelly. The tugs were getting near Bedford Buoy. Emily was still trying to lift that buoy onto her deck. I'll never do it, she said sadly. Theodore was reminding Hank how to turn. You go this way, he said, and Barrington will go the other way. Well, which way is this way, Hank asked. That way, replied Theodore. Oh, said Hank, I thought you said this way. No, called Theodore, I did mean this way, except I meant the other this way. I mean, that way. Theodore's eyes began to spin around in his head, this way, that way, and sideways, too. Meanwhile, Hank began to go this way, and decided that he better go that way. Look out, cried Emily. Hank was heading straight for the buoy. Hank turned with all his might and just missed hitting the buoy. Hank's dangling anchor caught on Bedford, and since Emily was still trying to lift Bedford, she was rocked from side to side, too. Oh, sorry, Bedford, Emily called Hank. Barrington's big, long tubes were knocked all over his deck, and some fell right into the water. Well, Pearl, the pilot boat, headed back to report on Hank to the dispatcher, and she didn't look happy at all. Hank felt terrible about his mistakes. He was sure he'd failed the test. I guess I'm not a very good barge mover after all, he said. I guess I'm not a very good teacher after all. And I'm not a very good buoy lifter, said Emily. Tugs turned to him. "Every time I try and lift the buoy onto my deck," she said, "it rolls all over my railings and I can't catch it." "Oh, lifting buoys is easy," said Theodore. "You don't need to bring them up on your deck. Just tie them to your side and pull them to the shore that way." "I don't do it like that," replied Emily. "But I guess I could try," she said finally. And sure enough, when she tried the different way, it worked perfectly. "I don't do it that way," said Emily, "but your way works too." "Thanks, Theodore." Theodore didn't answer. He was thinking about something. About different things, as a matter of fact. And about doing things differently. This way and that way. The dispatcher was waiting for Theodore and Hank when they returned to their dock. "There are 2 barges to move this afternoon," he said, "so I really need 2 tugs. But Pearl tells me that Hank isn't ready to move barges yet." Hank was still feeling very badly about having failed his barge moving test. "So, I suppose you, Theodore, will have to move them both," concluded the dispatcher. For a moment, Theodore didn't say anything. He was thinking about the right way to move barges and about the right way of being a teacher. But most of all, he was thinking about his good friend, Hank. Finally, Theodore floated towards the dispatcher and nervously cleared his throat. "Excuse me, Mr. Dispatcher, sir?" "Yes, Theodore?" said the dispatcher seriously. "I think Hank is ready to move barges." Well, the dispatcher was quite surprised to hear this. "Well, why do you think so, Theodore?" he said. "Hank doesn't move barges very well when he does it like me," replied Theodore. "But he does do a good job when he does it his way." "I see," said the dispatcher. And he was silent for a long, long moment. Hank looked at Theodore. "Do you really think I do a good job moving barges?" said Hank. "Well," said Theodore, "I kind of like the way you turn." "Well," said Hank, "I kind of like the way you pull from the front." And so the 2 good friends set off to move barges. Just about the best thing a tug, or 2 tugs, can do, each in their own way. But today, Theodore and Hank are first-rate bargemen. And of course, they don't do things exactly the same way. But, like my friend Cat Bernard says, different strokes for different boats. Well, I'm off to the Harbourmaster's ball. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbour.
You're cruising in the harbor with Theodore Tugboat, here on Cubo.